Understanding financial times and seasons. Understanding financial times and seasons. Now listen, what I'm about to share with you today will be one of the most amazing truths you will ever get to know that will help you. When I found out about financial times and seasons almost 20 years ago, it just completely changed my life. And I tell you, this information I'm about to give to you have helped me as an individual in the last 20 years. Now, you need to understand that the world that we live in operates in times and seasons. Even your own life is a life that operates in times and seasons. For instance, there is a time in your life when you are a baby. There was a time and a season in your life when you were a toddler. There was a time and a season in your life where you were a child. There was a time and a season in your life when you were a teenager. There's a time and a season in your life when you are a student. There's a time and a season in your life when you become a married man or married woman, or you become parents. Now, if you don't understand the times and the seasons that you are in life, there's no way you can be able to maximize life. There's no way you can effectively manage your life. And there's no way you can effectively be what you need to be. For instance, the very minute a woman gets pregnant, she enters a season. She enters a particular timing. And now, those 9 months of carrying that baby within the womb of a woman is a very, very unique and exceptional season. And she needs to understand the time to say, look, I'm pregnant. I'm carrying a baby. And because she knows she's pregnant and she's carrying a baby, she'll be careful of what she wears. She'll be careful of what she eats. She'll be careful of what she does. She'll be careful of where she goes. Why? Because she has understanding of the time. But there have been stories of people that have had miscarriages, and they never knew they were pregnant until they had a miscarriage. And why did they have a miscarriage? Because they did not know they were pregnant. So they were doing what they normally did. They were eating whatever they wanted to eat, doing whatever they wanted to do, and then they jeopardized the health of the baby and they ended up with a miscarriage. But if they had known that they were pregnant, understanding that time, understanding that season will help them. There are students that have failed because they didn't understand that being in school is all about studying and getting a degree. So they were in school, but because they did not have an understanding of the times and season, they were partying. They were messing all around. At the end of the day, they spent more years on campus than they should have spent because they didn't understand the time. So when it comes to the world of finances, you need to have an understanding of financial times and seasons. You see, in the world that we live in right now, there's what we call the financial system. Now, the financial system of this world has principles that guides it. But apart from the financial system of this world, there are other systems that are also in operation. But if you don't know, you will be a victim of the systems of this world. Now, many, many years ago, centuries ago actually, a particular king had a dream. And now this king was living in the olden Egypt. You know, Egypt is in Africa, but Egypt was like one of the old civilization that conquered the world. Like we have Babylon, we have Egypt, we have Rome, So Egypt was the world system because Egypt was governing the world at a particular time. And then the people that used to lead Egypt then, they were not in democracy. They were running what we call a monarchy. So they had a king that was called Pharaoh. And now Pharaoh was the title for the kings in Israel. For the kings in Egypt. Now, at a particular time, one of the pharaohs had a dream. Now, when he had a dream, that dream that he had was a very, very terrifying one for him because he didn't even understand the dream. And now in the dream, he saw 7 fat cows. And then later on, he saw 7 lean cows. And then the lean cows swallowed the fat cows. And he was surprised. Then he had a dream again the next time, and he saw 7 lean wheats and 7 fat wheat, and the lean one swallowed the fat one. And the dream was repeated twice, so he was wondering. But there was no way he could get an interpretation. Nobody could give him the interpretation of the dream. But there was a Jewish boy called Joseph that was in prison in Egypt at that point in time. And someone had told the Pharaoh that this young boy could interpret dreams because he had interpreted dreams for people that were with him in prison, and what he said to them came to pass. So Pharaoh asked that this guy should be brought. His name was Joseph. And when he came before Pharaoh, he told Pharaoh something very, very amazing. He said, Pharaoh, the dream you had is very clear. He said the 7 fat cows are the 7 years of plenty. There's going to be 7 years of amazing abundance, but the 7 link outs are 7 years of famine. He said, after the 7 years of plenty, there will be so much abundance everywhere, but there will be 7 years of famine that will come after it, and the famine will be so severe that it will swallow up all the 7 years of plenty. And he said the second dream is the same, and it was repeated twice. Why? Because it was established to happen on the earth. So what does that mean? That dream was not a dream that Pharaoh had relating to Egypt alone. That dream was actually a dream revealing to us what I call the wealth cycle. Now, in order for you to understand financial times and season, you need to understand the wealth cycle. You see, wealth cycle is the way the world is structured to operate. So there will always be seasons of plenty, there will always be seasons of famine. That's the way life is governed. So listen and listen well. When I was in school, in our secondary school, we had we did what we call agric science, and in agric science we have a particular session where we're taught about what is called bush fallowing. Now, bush fallowing in agric, from what we're told in school in those days, is a process whereby you leave a particular land fallow for between 3 to 4 years without planting anything on it. Now, the reason why you're supposed to leave that land fallow is so that it can regain its nutrients. So that after 3 to 4 years, it regains its nutrient, then you begin to farm on it again. Now, what that is telling us is similar to wealth cycle. Life is operated in such a way that there will be seasons of plenty, there will be seasons of lack. There will be seasons of plenty, there will be seasons of lack. And I have come to realize that if you really study, if you look at life, just do a research in the last 10, 20, 15, 30, 40, 50 years, you will discover that in the last 50 years, we have had seasons of abundance, seasons of crisis, seasons of abundance, seasons of crisis. Now, 7 years of abundance will be followed by 7 years of famine, but it does not necessarily have to be mathematical. So, because in life, things overlap. So sometimes you might have 7 years of abundance, you might have 6 years of abundance, you might have 5 years of abundance, you might have 10 years of abundance. But if you study life, you will realize that in life, it is always seasons of plenty, seasons of lack. Seasons of plenty, seasons of lack. And the only way for you to continue to survive is to have an understanding of the season, understanding of the time, and to know what you need to do at every point in time so that you not be a victim of the seasons and the time. So every time you are facing plenty, in the time of plenty, in the time of abundance, what you should do is to save. What you should do is to invest. Because what Joseph told Pharaoh was to make sure that 20% of everything that came in the days of abundance should be saved. And when they saved 20% of what came in the season of plenty, when the season of famine came, the 20% that was saved in the season of plenty was able to take care of the entire world in the 7 years of famine. And that's the power of savings. That's the power of compound interest. That's the power of investment. So if you are listening to me right now, you don't save, you don't invest, you don't put money aside for the future, you're going to get into trouble. Because if you prepare for bad times, you will always have good times. But if you don't prepare for bad times, you will die and suffer in bad times. Life is not a straight line. So when we talk about life, when we talk about understanding financial times and seasons, we are saying you need to have an understanding that money will not always come. Money will not always flow. Things will not always work the way they used to work. You might find yourself in a season of your life where everything you turn touches to gold. Everywhere you are finding favor, you're getting money, your money is coming in, you're investing and things are working fine. And then you find yourself in another season where everything seems to be against you. Life seems to be against you, people seem to be against you, and nothing seems to be working. It is what you do in the season of plenty that will save you in the season of famine. In life, it's all about times and season. And if you don't understand the times, you don't understand the season, you're going to get into trouble. So you need to have an understanding of the time. For instance, many people suffer. Every time there's a recession, every time there's a crisis, people suffer. Why? Because they don't understand life cycle. They don't understand that the seasons of plenty will always be followed by seasons of famine. See, why do we have that? One of the reasons is so that you can save and invest. One of the reasons is so that a new set of millionaires and billionaires can emerge. The same set of people cannot be shining forever. So there needs to be a wealth cycle so that in the season of change, a new set of millionaires and billionaires will emerge to be able to begin to move forward in this life. Always understand that no matter how much you make, always prepare for bad times. Because if you prepare for bad times, you will always have good times. So wherever you find yourself, look all around you. Think. Be very sensitive. Listen to news. Read the newspaper. Observe things. Because many people have found themselves in trouble because they just did not observe the way things were going. So in the season of plenty, save. Invest. Put money aside. So that in the season of lack, you will have something to help you out. Now, when it comes to understanding financial times and season, you also have to understand the place of oil in the operations of the world that we live in right now. A lot of people don't realize that, but you need to understand that the price of oil in the global market has a way of affecting the financial times and seasons in different nations. So, when you find out that the price of crude oil is so high in the market, because a lot of things that we do in our world today and a lot of nations depend on oil for many sectors in the economy. Once the price of oil is going up, it affects the economy of different sets of nations. When the price of oil is down, it also affects the economy of different nations, depending on where you are on the pendulum. So some people, when the price of oil is high, they are in trouble. Some are joyful, excited. Some people, when the price of oil is down, they are in trouble. Why some are excited? So you need to have an understanding of the place of the price of crude oil in the global market on your financial times and season, depending on where you are. Next, you also need to understand the place of government policy on your financial times and season. Because many times people don't think about how government policy will affect them, how government policy will affect their business. But whether you like it or not, the policy of government and the economic climate of your country will affect you. So if you are living in a place where the government policy is not favorable for startup, is not favorable for expansion, is not favorable, it will affect you. If you are in a place where there is no security, it will affect you. And you don't understand financial times and season, and you can see civil war coming, you can see ethnic crisis coming, and you sit down there until it comes to meet you. You can see things falling apart and you are sitting down there hoping it won't fall apart. No. When you understand financial times and season, it will help you to know how to navigate all the different times and seasons that happens in our world. I live in a country where we have all kinds of stuff happening. And the first thing I see is that I see two sets of people. I see people that understand the times and they maximize the time. I see people that don't understand the times and then they become victims of the time. For instance, in my country right now, we've been going through what we call the fuel crisis for about 2 months now. But people have been making so much money in the midst of the fuel crisis because they know that it's a time to sell in the black market. So they go, they get the fuel, and they go sell in jerry cans. Is it right? I don't think so. But they are making their money because they have an understanding that when things are scarce, the price will be high. So once there is scarcity, they understand the law of demand and supply. They are working with it. In our country right now, the exchange rate is just something else. And now many people are crying. But you see, when you have understanding of the times, you will know that the way the money is being devalued, it means you need to begin to make money in dollars. You need to begin to make money in pounds. So when you have understanding of the times, you know that this is the time for exports. This is the time to make money, make foreign income. Then you begin to look into how to plug into those opportunities. So understanding financial times and season is very key. Right now, in some part of our country, we have what we call the religious war, and we have ethnic stuff going on. We have Boko Haram. We have some affiliation with Boko Haram has affiliation with some ISIS stuff. We have what we call the Fulani headsmen. We have some guys going all around with all kinds of weapons and just messing up people's life. Now, once that begins to happen, understand it. It's financial times and season. That simply means that these places are volatile. You can't, for instance, if houses are being burnt, when will people have time to go to school? When will people have time to do business? So it tells you that that's not the time to waste money. That's the time to save money. That's the time to make sure that you prepare for hard times. So understanding financial times and season is very key for any individual that really wants to be able to create wealth. Now, when I share with people sometimes, I tell them we're in the season of plenty. We're in the season of abundance. And people are like, excuse me, what do you mean season of plenty? You know why? A lot of people do not realize that when things are tough, it's actually a very, very good climate and a good opportunity for a new set of millionaires and billionaires to emerge. So when we say we are in a season of abundance, when we say we are in a season of plenty, when we say things have changed, it's a new season. What do we mean by that? Number one, we mean it's a season of restoration. When you find yourself going through crisis, financial lack, financial hardship, financial inconsistency, and all of a sudden the tide turns, what happens? You begin to see restoration. So once you begin to see restoration, you know that this is a good financial time. So as the money begins to come in the season of restoration, you start putting the money aside and start saving for the next crisis and start preparing for the next cycle, so that you will not be a victim. Because you see, you can be consistently prosperous, you can be consistently progressive, no matter the financial climate, if you know what to do when you understand financial times and season. So it's a season of restoration. Number two is a season of new opportunities. Whenever you find out that the season has changed, you begin to see new opportunities. Opportunities that were not there before begin to spring up. When new opportunities begin to show up, it's a season of plenty. Instead of joining people to complain about how bad things are, plug into those opportunities. Look around for the new opportunities that have emerged and plug in. As you plug into those new opportunities that are emerging, that is how you are able to begin to see wealth, even in the midst of a terrible financial situation. What we say is a season of abundance. When seasons change, it's also a season of new ideas. Do you know that there are a lot of ideas, a lot of things that have come up in the last 10 years that were not existing before 10 years ago? So what are the ideas that goes through your mind? Do you know there were some things that were impossible 10 years ago, but now they are very possible? Now, some ideas may be coming to your mind right now, and you're like, it's not possible. No! Don't say it's not possible, because it may not have been possible before, but you need to reevaluate and reascertain that it's not possible for you to say it's not possible. You may just be making a great mistake. So it's a season of restoration, it's a season of new opportunities, it's a season of new ideas. So what are the new ideas flowing in your mind? What are the new ideas happening around you? Explore them, so that you can begin to ride the wave of the times and the season. It is very, very key, because once you understand times and season, it will go a long way in helping you to be able to navigate the stormy side of life. You can survive no matter the economic climate. You can thrive no matter the economic climate. Some people have lived their life perpetually in financial famine. Some people have been in and out of financial famine, and some people have never experienced financial famine. Why? Just because they know how to manage financial times and seasons. We say seasons have changed. It means there's a season of opportunity, there's a season of restoration, it's a season of new idea. When seasons change, it's also a season of networking and collaboration. It's a season of what? Of networking and collaboration. In the world that we live in right now, you need to always look all around. There are always new kids on the block. There are always new ideas. There are always new things coming up. You need to know who to network with, who to collaborate with, so that you can consistently remain relevant. Because in the world that we live in right now, if you don't continue to network and collaborate with people that matter, you may become obsolete and you may become obscure. And then it's also a season of favor and abundance. When seasons change, you just discover that everything you touch, because it's a season. For instance, if you understand times and season, in the season of a particular fruit, you don't need anything for that fruit to produce, because it's the season. And because it is the season, the fruit is available in abundance, and it is cheap because it's available in abundance. So when seasons change, it's also a season of abundance. It's a season of favor. You just discover that everything you touch continues to flourish without any extra effort. When you are very sensitive and observant, and you see that, okay, I do this, is working, I'm touching this one, money is working, everything is going on fine, that tells you are in a season of plenty. And because you are in a season of plenty, don't waste that crisis, don't waste that opportunity, don't waste that blessing. Make sure you do everything you can to maximize that season, and make sure you save and invest massively, so that when the season of challenge or the season of lack or famine come, you'll be able to survive. So you can survive and thrive no matter the season. And I've seen that work in my life. I've seen it work in the life of so many people. And I tell you, these things work. A lot of people I've seen have been victims of financial times and season. You hear they say, he has fallen on hard times. Why do people fall on hard times? If you say somebody has fallen on hard times, it means he had good times, and then hard times came and he could not stand, he had to now fall on hard times. So for you to fall on hard times, it means you have not done what you should have done in good times. And that's a lesson that everyone needs to learn, so that we can continue to do the right thing at the right time, so that we can maximize the opportunities we have, so that we will not be victims of circumstance. I can tell you stories upon stories of how these things have worked for me. I can tell you stories upon stories of how these things have messed up other people's life. I remember I started buying shares, I think somewhere around 90, 96, 97, 98. Within those 3 years, 96, 97, that's when I began to get into the understanding of the need to invest in the stock market and all the stuff. And after investing in that, around 98, 99, I came in contact with the understanding of the wealth cycle. How that there will be 7 years of plenty and 7 years of famine. And then before you know it, somewhere around 2000 and 2004, 2005, 2006, I saw the way the stock market was going in our country. Money was just flowing. People were making so much money. The market was just something else. And then by the time we entered into 2007, I just knew, by virtue of the fact that this thing, been buying shares 97, this 2007, 10 years, I've never sold my shares. I'm sensing that the season is about to change. And guess what I did? I sold all my shares. The shares I sold, I was able to build 2 houses with the shares. Few months later, the market crashed. And everybody was, some people have not recovered till now, almost 10 years later from that crash. So listen and listen well. When you understand financial times and season, it will help you to make a meaningful life.